Is silver beginning to lose its luster? Now we're seeing inflation to be reported at 6% or higher here in the United States, so one would naturally think that silver should be thriving. Sadly, that hasn't been the case as we've seen this year, and even with the massive governmental spending and proposals to spend even more fiat currency on the table, silver hasn't really lived up to its expectations amongst many. Let's take a look at some of the recent Google trends. Let's analyze the overall picture and also discuss the importance of a long term outlook when it comes to stacking and saving in precious metals when we return. All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for watching Florida Stacker today. Has silver lost its luster? As someone who runs a silver-focused YouTube channel, I think that's a fair question to ask, and one that we should discuss amongst the community. Now, let's start out by looking at some recent Google trends, and we'll compare silver, gold, Bitcoin, and one other outlier to paint a better current picture of the silver metal. As stated many times on this channel, silver and gold stacking, that is, buying and holding physical precious metals, is a long-term financial strategy. I often talk about the dangers of going all in or getting into physical silver, namely, to make a quick buck. Usually doesn't work out well for those that try that approach. Now, Google Trends will help us in emphasizing the point that interest in silver is highest when those prices are high, and that interest in silver does begin to wane during those periods where smart money is backing up the truck. Let's start with a search for silver coins with Google Trends. Now up front, I did go with silver coins and gold coins over simply searching for silver or gold. That is to help us avoid any overlap, especially from the recent Olympic Games, where the words gold and silver were frequently searched for. Now here you can see that silver interest peaked in February, and while there have been a few spikes since that time, the trend is one of decline. Now this is expected as we've witnessed silver come down now quite a bit over that time period. Now let's go and throw up the gold coins into the mix. You can see here that silver does hold a slight edge against gold over this time period when it comes to interest, but the longer term trend is the same for both gold as it was with silver. Now it's going to get interesting. Here I throw Bitcoin into the mix, and you can see that while adding Bitcoin and gold and silver, well, gold and silver hardly register as compared to the first cryptocurrency, but even looking at the Bitcoin trend, we see a clear pattern here. And we know that prices were in the $60,000 back before May, and look what's happened since then. Interest is highest when prices are highest, and vice versa when prices are low. Finally, I'm going to inject a name that whether you love or hate him, he's undeniably a popular person in culture today, and that's going to be Donald Trump. And you can see how trends for those searching for Donald Trump have actually kind of slowed down since last year's election. And really, this is just to paint the bottom line that the majority of people on this planet look at wealth accumulation or investing and suffer from what is known as fear of missing out, or FOMO. And they tend to rush into investments or assets that are near their peaks in value. They are then left holding the bag, as it's said, angry and bitter, and many will sell if they haven't sold already and take their losses and move on to their next financial folly because they didn't learn their lesson, really. This is precisely the behavior that I want to address in hopes that you will not fall into this trap as gold and silver stackers. Now, silver and gold are stores of value, and that is why you hear and see some fellow YouTube channels also warning you against going all in and buying heavily into a high premium environment. These are the highest premiums that we've seen for a very long time, definitely since I began stacking, which wasn't all that long ago. Now, fear, doubt, and uncertainty, those YouTube channels that thrive on those topics, will undoubtedly pull in more views during this time, because I imagine that some of those viewers are actually those same bag holders contemplating their exit strategy, and so they avoid videos showing purchases and accumulation, and they're more interested in getting out or selling at this time. So that fear, doubt, and uncertainty, it really does captivate them. Now, don't fall into this trap, okay? And let's look at portions of an article that I think does a pretty good job of discussing what we're seeing today. This article is from Stock News and was written by Taylor Dart, titled Silver Remains Attractive on a Long-Term Basis. Now, it's been a volatile month thus far for the precious metals sector, with silver taking the brunt of the selling pressure. This is quite disappointing in an inflationary environment when many investors are expecting metal prices to provide a hedge or a safe haven. Now, fortunately, silver has recovered from its lows last Sunday, but it's still down more than 10% year to date and down nearly 21% from its February highs. Now, there is some good news, and that good news is that we've seen minimal damage to the long-term picture, but that is contingent on the bulls playing defense immediately. And at that, let's take a closer look. Now, it's been a volatile week, as mentioned, and a half really for silver, a week and a half. Been about 10 days of pretty bad news for silver, with the metal plunging more than 8% in a single trading session last Sunday, but did manage to find support at the critical $22 per ounce level. This price has since recovered, but the negative development is that prior support at $24.75, well, that ship has sailed and broken down, and now we have resistance up higher at $26.35. The two silver linings are that this correction has been so violent that we've seen what looks to be a possible capitulation from the bull camp, and the monthly chart does remain intact. This is evidenced by the fact that bullish sentiment on Wall Street for silver has plunged to as low as 12% for bulls as of last week, with the long-term moving average now dipping to 30% for silver bulls, its lowest reading in more than 2 years. A low sentiment reading on this indicator does not guarantee that the bottom is in yet for silver. Still, typically we have seen important bottoms formed in this area with similar levels of despondence. So with this trade having gone from exuberance at the time of the Wall Street Bets short squeeze attempt to, basically get more involvement with silver, buy silver, and bring, attention to the manipulation and value of silver, it has now been 6 months, and it's time to be open-minded once more about the potential bottom forming here in the silver market. Now, if we look at the technical picture, we do have a clear downtrend in place over the last few months. Many investors likely regretting rushing into the metal during the attempted short squeeze in late February, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. However, while momentum is clearly to the downside short term, the bigger picture still remains bullish. The key, however, to confirming silver is ready to begin a new multi-year uptrend will be a monthly close above the $30 per ounce level. We haven't seen that yet. We've seen it get close. We've seen it. I think it did actually bridge that $30 at one point earlier this year, but it was very short-lived. Ultimately, the metal could head much higher after shaking out many of the weaker-handed bulls, but with much of this base being built around actually below the 200-day moving average, the odds of a breakout during 2021 are becoming less likely. For those of you with time on your side, this isn't anything to worry about. That's the point that I really want to try to press on to you here also. As a matter of fact, a new bottom in the $22 to $23 range is actually a good thing for most silver stackers, as the price has remained above this level throughout 2021. But looking at the last 12 months here at this chart here, you can see that we're still up $3.61 over the last 12 months, and that does bring in about a 15% gain over silver's lowest price during the last 12 months, which is actually not that bad. The key here is to have a plan, folks, and within that plan, I do highly recommend moderation, patience, persistence, and doing your own homework. Silver is an outstanding metal with continually emerging industrial uses that will only gain in focus as the world inevitably moves towards more green energy, and we are witnessing a growing global population. What silver isn't, however, the other key point of this video, is a get-rich scheme or a scheme at all to make you rich. Here on this channel, it is slow and steady as she goes. That's the message that I like to relay onto my viewers here by showing you how you can actually save in gold and silver. And with that, I'd like to thank all of my viewers, especially those viewers that have made it to this point in the video. Many points to consider here, and as always, have a great day. Do keep your head up and stack on. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. with 5 ounces of silver at 5, the 5 at 5, where I've got an assortment of 1 ounce silver coins to show you. Many thoughts to think on here. Happy to hear your thoughts in the comments section down below. Have a great day, and until then, take care.